Hello, race fans, and welcome once again to another high-octane episode of Trackside, proudly presented by Document Technologies. Document Technologies provides a comprehensive range of managed solutions, including multifunction devices, managed print services, and document management software. They're also known for their fast service, boasting an average response time of 2 hours or less, and offer high-quality product multifunction devices alongside document management and cloud hosting software. Stay tuned, racing enthusiasts, because the action starts right now, right here on Trackside.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Trackside. I'm Terry Turner, and via satellite, there's Randy Dye on his way to Charlotte. Randy, a big thank you to the United States Navy Band for our national anthem, and happy Memorial Day to you and everybody. How about it?
Yeah, thank you for playing the national anthem, especially this weekend. Memorial Day is definitely different than a lot of other holidays, even military holidays, patriotic holidays that we celebrate. This is the one that really identifies those who gave it all. Not just those who served, which is significant unto itself, but these are the ones who died in service. And I got to tell you, man, you and I both, we get to do what we want to do and get to enjoy all of the many things of these United States. But without people who chose to make sure that was forever and ever going to be possible, we wouldn't be able to do any of it. So I appreciate you start the show with the national anthem.
Well, it's a special one for me because I lost a brother thanks to Vietnam, and so it kind of stands out. But for all of us, and this weekend at Charlotte, as you're on your way there, it is a big deal with NASCAR. This is a very special weekend at NASCAR, and NASCAR is very unique in how they celebrate our veterans and Memorial Day and our freedoms. And if you talk to any of the drivers, this is a nice reminder, but any of the drivers will tell you what a privilege it is to be able to do what they're doing, like you just mentioned, and have the freedom to do so. So quite a weekend, and I sure hope everybody keeps it in mind, Randy.
Well, I do too, and I think I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about NASCAR in the way that they continue to show respect to our military and our veterans, and really patriotism in and of itself. They don't show favoritism, or they don't get in the game on politics, but they're squarely behind patriotism, and without any condition, they're in, and I'm grateful. I think it's the right way to the right position to take. Being behind this country, celebrating all that is good about it, understanding the things that need to change, but certainly not sitting there trying to detract or tear it apart in the process. And I think that's important. I would just say that saying positive things is a good thing. The negative stuff, we don't need it. We just don't need it. And especially on foreign soil. And I guess maybe to borrow a phrase from a good friend of mine, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yes, sir. That's about right on the money. Just a note here, though, kind of skipping forward because we got a lot to talk about. But this happens in the Cup Series. But just an example, Bass Pro Shops and Winchester Ammunition, along with Richard Childress Racing, is going to team up to honor the fallen service members, and as part of that program, Austin Dillon's name on the windshield header of the number 3 Chevrolet, of all Chevrolets, the number 3, will be replaced by the name of a fallen Army Staff Sergeant, Sean Gregory Laundress. And Laundress lost his life on January 29th in 2004 on injuries that he suffered when a roadside bomb exploded to hit the convoy. He was near Khalija, Iraq, during the Operation Iraq Freedom. So, just right there, an example of this, and the number 3 of all cars. I don't know, that strikes a chord with everybody that'll be at the racetrack, and then, of course, to honor this fallen soldier and his family, it's a big one.
Well, you think that number 3. If it's interesting you use the Marines and the Marine Corps. We celebrate every month, honestly, on the 21st of each month. We call it Roberto Clemente Day. Roberto Clemente, as you know, wore the number 21. And so on the 21st of every month, we take the cover off of Roberto's car that sits in our showroom. What a lot of people don't know about Roberto Clemente is he served in the Marine Corps from 1958 to 1964. And if you think about a Roberto Clemente, that wouldn't surprise you either. He's very proud to be in America, but he was also very proud to be a Puerto Rican American. And I think my dad served in the Army. I know so many people that have served, and I thank every one of them, and especially to this weekend for those who it cost them their lives.
As you said, they gave it all.
They did. They gave it all. They did.
Exactly. Well, thank God for all those that are serving. I have a nephew right now that is in the Red Sea on an aircraft carrier, and thank you to all of you folks. Randy, I kind of want to do a special thing here and go on to the local segment because it features somebody that we know, and then I've got another kind of honor. I almost had Mr. Mark play the Rocky theme, but I thought, well, it's been played a lot. But in my mind, it's going to be playing. So let's go ahead and go to the local segment of the program, and we'll come back and talk about a special guy.
One Daytona, located across from the world's center of racing, is proud to present our local segment, where we talk with a local star in your part of the country following a big win, event preview, and much more. One Daytona in Daytona Beach is a vibrant destination offering an array of shopping, dining, and entertainment options, including unique events, live music suitable for families and individuals alike.
For the first time in 105 days, 360 Sprint cars roared into Volusia Speedway Park with Dirt Car UMP Modifieds, 3/4 Modifieds, and factory stocks in attendance for the Top Gun Classic. Through the 4 feature races ran around the world's fastest half mile, taking home the trophies include Tyler Clem, Seth Geary, Ethan Hahn, and Jason Garver. Volusia Speedway Park back in action on Saturday, June 14th as summer events kick off with another Fab 5 event, the Firecracker Showdown. Dirt Car UMP Modified, 605 604 late models, 602 late models, factory stocks, and 3/4 modifieds will bring the heat for the third Fab 5 race of the season. And last Saturday night at New Smyrna Speedway, race fans enjoyed the Hoosier Pro Late Model Twin 35s. And in the Pro Late Model feature number 1, Jason Vale gets that win, and feature 2, Brad May. Matthew Green is a winner in the Sportsman, Eugene Tuminello in E-Mods, and Aaron Foyle in Bomber A's. A couple of very familiar names in the win column there. And Saturday night, the Modified Challenge Twin 35s will be underway, with J&C Great All Modified features number 1 and 2, Ashley Holmes Jack's Pro Trucks, Ground Pounders, and Bomber Bees. Five Flag Speedway last Friday night. Logan Boyette goes flag to flag to win the Outlaw feature. James Patrick, the Sportsman. Cody Griggs, the Crown NW. Pure Stocks is Mike Johnson. And Adam Salter gets the Crown Stocks. Five Flags back to work on Friday, June 13th with the PLM 100, Trucks, Pure Stocks, and Crown Stocks. Also, how about bicycle races for kids 12 and under? In NASCAR at North Wilkesboro, in the Truck Series, Chandler Smith gets that win, and Christopher Bell takes home a cool $1 million and wins the All-Star race, as race fans packed it in at North Wilkesboro. And tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the truck race starts at 8:30 on Fox Sports 1. Xfinity Guys back in action tomorrow at 4:30 on CW. And the Coca-Cola 600 takes place at 6 p.m. on Sunday for the Cup Guys. Wait for it. You'll see that on Amazon Prime. And if things go well, you'll see Kyle Larson at 12:45 on Fox in the Indianapolis 500. And a fantastic side note, yes, Xfinity Guys were off last weekend, but Daniel Dye was not laying around. He goes to Bowman Gray Stadium and wins the race in the Sportsman Series. So big congratulations to Daytona Beach's own Daniel Dye. Okay, Randy, so we had quite a discussion about Bowman Gray and how famous it is and what a great opportunity it was going to be for Daniel Dye to drive the number 1 in that race. And, Dad, you said, well, he's going to be racing against all these veterans and he has very little chance to win, but it is a great opportunity and honor for him to run at Bowman Gray. I have seen this on my screen several times. I watched it over and over just to be sure that I was correct, because the 31 kept trying to wreck him, bouncing off his rear bumper. Daniel Dye goes on to win at Bowman Gray Stadium in the number 1. And I broke another couch, buddy. I mean, holy cow! What can we say? Let me go on and let you hit both of these at the same time, because I've got in front of me for 2025 top 20 finishers across NASCAR's top 3 series. Number 1, Chase Elliott. Number 2, Daniel Hemrick. Number 3, Chandler Smith. Number 4, Daniel Dye. Number 5, Corey Heim. Daniel Dye, 11 out of 12 races, 91.67% in the top 20. So a couple of pretty big deals here, Randy. So yeah, comment on this one.
Well, I think the first one at Bowman Gray, yeah, I mean this was a conversation that was taking place about, hey, one of the guys in the shop that works in the college shop had a car, and hey, Dad, what do you think? And I said, well, our deal is always that whatever we race in, is it helping you with your race skills, and are we doing it for the good of the big picture, or are we just kind of messing around? And this one was kind of in the middle, I guess. But as a member of a team, and when you got one of your teammates that says, hey, I really want you to do something for me, that's really kind of what this was all about. It was one of the guys that in the shop asked Daniel to do this, and so he talked to me, and I said, well, I guess that's kind of, it's different. I mean, that's being a teammate. And he'd never raced at Bowman Gray. He'd never been in the race car. They went there on Saturday morning, thought they were going to get a little pre-practice time. It rained out. So it was a mess, and he never gave it up, even though he was severely challenged. But at the same time, you got to Chase is the guy's name to finish second to Daniel, and who is the point leader. at Bowman Gray and who has won several races at Bowman Gray. I feel like he raced Daniel very hard. He didn't give it to him. He worked hard. He banged the bumper. You saw it. He got him sideways, a couple times, but more than a couple times. There were multiple restarts, so there were lots of chances. But he, to his credit, instead of just running over Daniel, he tried to work him over and pass him, and he didn't wreck him. So I think it was a great combination. I will tell you that we had Jimmy Kitchens was the spotter there. This is the guy who really got Daniel into the late models and beyond. And Daniel and Jimmy gave him a lot of great advice. He actually, which you might find odd, but he encouraged Daniel to keep the car behind him close to him so that he couldn't get a big run and knock him out of the way. He'd have to try to pick at him. So if Daniel had got out a car and a half, maybe two in front of him, he could have driven off in there and just moved him. But that was really, really good coaching on Jimmy's part. So at the end of the day, yeah, man, I mean, we get done and Daniel's excited and he does his victory celebration in the grass, which is a no-no. He called the team leadership or the track leadership and apologized, and they said that they appreciated the apology, but that they were glad he did it. Facebook liked the video. Last time I checked, it was around.
Well, I would tell you, Randy, that the announcer that was announcing the race, covering the race, color of the race was, I think, more excited than any of us. He did a great job covering it. And then when Daniel went on the quote-unquote football field, the announcer seemed to support him there as well. So all in all, what a great bit of fun for everybody.
You know what was interesting, and I didn't know, there's a lot of these guys. This is one of the most historic racetracks in the country. Daniel is only one of four people from the state of Florida who's ever won at Bowman Gray Stadium.
Holy cow!
And
wow.
one of those was none other than Ben Kennedy.
No kidding! Wow!
Yeah!
Wow! Well, what I did, and I got a comment from Danica who asked me to do this. I packaged up the tape of the race and sent it to Joy Logano. So Joy Logano could see, how a real pro races another real pro without wrecking him. And well, anyway, just a great bit of fun and so much fun to watch, and especially in the one car, a black number one with a big white number one on the side of it. To win was just huge. And of course, Daniel's interview after the race was spectacular. He's just come such a long way. What a professional. And then on top, to be in the top 20 finishes for 2025 so far, to be number 4. Comment on that one, Randy. That's another big one.
Yeah, Daniel has always appreciated his equipment and tries to take care of it. He did this in the quarter midgets ranks. He did it in the late model ranks. We've talked about over the years, sometimes you go to the racetrack and you don't have a top 5 car. You may not have a top 3 car, but you might have a top 10 car. Sometimes you have a top 20 car. And the goal is to always get the best finish that you can with the car that you have. And if you try to drive over your head, and then that leads to not finishing. So that's always been part of this discussion over the years is, hey, remember what you got. Don't overdrive what you got, but get all you can out of it. And so it's a pretty interesting statistic, and especially when you put all 3 National Series together, and he comes out 4th among all those guys. I appreciate that he respects his equipment, and he respects the situation that he's in when he's on the racetrack. And so I think that's probably a result of all of that. He knows how hard the people work to provide a race car for him to go race. And that includes the people in the shop. It includes his partner sponsors. It's everybody. And so he believes that it's his responsibility to make sure that he respects that, and he tries to show that on the racetrack. And you see him in his fellow competitors. He's not easy, but he doesn't just blast people. So I didn't know that. I got that information just a few days ago, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty impressive number. And now we'd obviously like to make that. We'd like to see that same thing in top tens, right? So we'll see if we can get there.
Yeah. So Joey, if you're watching, you learned some lessons from a rookie in the Xfinity Series. So how about that, ladies and gentlemen? Congratulations to Daniel, big time. And with that, let's roll into because we got something fun to talk about right here. Let's roll into the truck segment of the Trackside program.
The Tough Trucks of NASCAR are next up on the agenda, presented by Aaron Delgado and Associates. With over 110 combined years of experience in criminal defense and personal injury, Aaron Delgado and Associates takes pride in vigorously representing clients in various challenging legal situations within the community. Now, let's go trucking.
Randy, I like this story. I pulled it out of my stack because it kind of stands out. You know, we at Flagler Broadcasting are fortunate enough to be part of Daniel's sponsorship over the years, from quarter midgets to now in the Xfinity Series. You've got several local sponsors with Daniel as sponsors and part of this program, et cetera. So this one I liked. And Craftsman Truck Series driver Spencer Boyd say that Canal Coffee Company, and they're in Charlotte, will be the primary sponsor for the race at Charlotte, and that's tonight. Founded in 2023, Canal Coffee Company is family-owned, and it's a drive-through coffee shop serving specialty drinks, hot breakfast, baked goods, and lunch. So pretty cool. Here's a local, and this is not a big conglomerate, ladies and gentlemen, and a local sponsor that steps up to the plate and is a primary sponsor on a truck in the big race tonight at Charlotte. That's big time.
I love it. You know, back in the day, if you look at some of the cars in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, there's wherever they raced, they picked up a lot of local sponsors back in the day. They'd come into town or they'd call ahead and they'd put together a little deal. And that's still what this is, and it's kind of cool.
No, it's very cool. I mean, it takes me back to when I was growing up, going to the stock car track in Tulsa, Oklahoma, watching Emmett Hahn run with all local sponsors on his stock car. So yeah, it hits home, and again makes us very proud again to be part of Daniel's team as a sponsor with a local radio station group like us. So, but pretty cool, no doubt about that. Charlotte for the trucks, their last half miler or mile and a halfer for the season, but this is like old home week, Randy. All but two of the teams in the series are based in Charlotte, and the two exceptions are Thor Sport, and they're from Sandusky, Ohio, and Rackley WAR from Centerville, Tennessee. So I guess we can call this old home week on a mile and a half track in the trucks tonight at Charlotte.
Well, it is. Charlotte's, the center of where everybody. I mean, it is where the industry is. Lots of the guys that work there, that Charlotte, Concord, Salisbury. I mean, it's just that circle. That's where everybody lives, and that's where everybody works, and that's the hub of the industry. So this is kind of reunion. There's lots of cool things happen in Charlotte this time of year. This is kind of going back to what I told you a few weeks ago about some of these places that we've visited for years to race. Charlotte has taken on a completely different look with the renovations they've done and how spectacular it is. But the mood and the theme is still very much the same. And I will say, I do want to make this point. They still have a Chrysler grandstand, a Chrysler seating area, which I had remembered, but from back in the day. And when I went to Charlotte and many years, and I went, what? Look at that. It's still there. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you need a big picture of that on the wall in your office, I think. There's no doubt about that. And just another quick note, this is the home base for Corey Heim, who's won 4 out of the last 8 truck races on intermediate speedways. So this could be another Corey Heim event right there at Charlotte. But it's going to be, like we mentioned last week, the trucks, they get after it. It's serious racing, and always, I don't know, in my opinion, a lot of the times the most entertaining of all 3 series.
Well, it can be. There's a combination that makes that happen. The way the truck is built, and so how it feels on the racetrack, big greenhouse, very much pretty stable to drive. Shorter races, not a lot of time to take it easy. You got to get up there and get it done. Stages are much shorter, so same thing. And a lot of guys trying to use that as a stepping stone to get to other divisions. So you put all that together, you're going to get some action. That's for sure. I talked to Bill McAnally from McAnally Hagelman Racing. I talk to him on a regular basis. He's such a great guy. 4 trucks in the series most of the time, sometimes 5. He loves the truck series. Bill's got that figured out. And I think, if I remember right, you mentioned Daniel Hemrick, and he's one of the top 20 percentages as well. So
right.
It's very cool. I mean, the truck series is someplace that I've liked it since day one, and I'm excited about it today. Probably be excited about it even more here sometime, maybe that first week or 2 of June.
Interesting. Yes. Well, we'll keep you posted on that one, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk some Xfinity. But don't go anywhere. You're listening to Trackside.
Introducing the all-new tractor and outdoor power equipment section at DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors. Now you can gear up for your outdoor projects with premium brands like Bobcat, Massey Ferguson, Shindaiwa, Echo, and more. Need a powerful lawnmower for that perfectly manicured lawn? They've got it. How about a rugged tractor to tackle those big projects? DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors has you covered. And let's not forget the Lawn and Garden Center with everything from weed whackers to chainsaws. Commercial or residential, DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors has the goods to keep you moving. So why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary? Visit DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors today at their new location and explore the thrilling world of outdoor power equipment. DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors, where the thrill of the ride meets the power of the great outdoors. Your journey begins here.
Welcome back to Trackside as we now take a look under the hood in the NASCAR Xfinity Series presented by Daytona's Garage. Daytona's Garage offers more than just standard dealership customization. They provide a comprehensive range of services for personalizing and enhancing cars, Jeeps, and trucks of any make and model, focusing on both aesthetics and performance with affordability. Reliable service. Now, back to Terry and Randy.
Randy, we witnessed some hard contact with Connor Zillage on April 26th at Talladega. Lots of wrecks, et cetera, there. And so Connor cited some lower back issues and had to miss the race at Texas Motor Speedway. But back is Connor Zillage in tomorrow's race in the Xfinity Series. and is going to be in the race on the big oval in the Cup Series on Sunday. So we'll see him come back and make his oval track debut with the Cup Series on Sunday. Great to see Connor Zillage come back. He's a competitor.
I'm glad he's back. And I'm sure that I don't have any, specific knowledge of the injury, and I'm confident that his medical team will make sure that he's good to go. He's such a young guy and with a lot of talent, that you want to make sure that they're thinking long-term, big picture, not just another race. And I don't mean that Charlotte's not just another race. They're all important races. Don't misunderstand me. But in terms of the big picture, I just want to make sure he's really, really healed up, doesn't get a chance to get hurt, and because he's got a long, bright future ahead. Clearly, I believe he has star quality, star ability, and those kinds of people, we need in the sport. So, I hope he has a good, clean couple of races, does a good job, and doesn't aggravate that situation anymore.
Well, he's going to be running both races, so it's good that he's had a little bit of rest. Just a quick side note, I just happened to see on YouTube this week a good piece of information regarding Dale Earnhardt Sr. and that wreck and going back over it and things that have changed since. And, just thinking about that, at that time, no safer barrier. The Hans device was somewhat available at that time. Dale Sr. Did not decide to use it, which I can understand. You're used to driving those cars without all the restriction. But now the Hans device is there. The way they've done the seats, supporting the neck, et cetera, sure makes it better for the drivers when they do have. And, of course, the safer barrier, a huge difference. We very, very rarely see a serious injury these days, Randy, and it's all good.
Well, NASCAR is always, safety is absolutely its highest priority, and they constantly are looking at how they do things, and they constantly take a look at telemetry data. One of the things that they do right now is Daniel wears a mouthpiece during the race, and it provides data for research on impact and it's collecting other data about the body in a race car. So they're not, people used to make fun and how it wasn't a lot of technology in the sport, and that's really never been the case. It's been at the front edge of technology in what it does, and I applaud all the efforts they make.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw Kyle Larson climb out of the car and take that mouthpiece out of his mouth, which just reminded me of the days when we were playing football. We wore something very similar. But, yeah, kudos to NASCAR for everything they're doing. Randy, a lot of attention paid to prostate cancer with the discovery of former President Joe Biden, prostate cancer, et cetera. Like awareness that we've seen with Daniel and Race to Stop Suicide, Zero Prostate is sponsoring Josh Blinky in the Cup Series and J.J. Yaley in the Xfinity Series at Charlotte to do just that and increase awareness. People, I've lost a couple of friends to prostate cancer, and it's certainly treatable these days if you catch it early. So another interesting sponsor steps up to the plate for the big races in Xfinity and Cup this Saturday and Sunday.
I think I was actually talking to a potential partner, and I said, one of the things I can tell you is that if you want to get recognized, there's no better place. And yeah, you're right about Race to Stop Suicide. Our partners have supported the effort, and which has allowed us to take advantage of the NASCAR platform and bring awareness not just to our own community, but across the country. You know, I'm without asking and without soliciting, and not putting it out there, I get asked to go speak to different places around the country about this topic, and it's all result of what the NASCAR platform and the power of that platform. So yeah, having companies, new companies, those that are about health, especially with what we just heard about the former president. It's a great platform to create awareness, no doubt.
You bet. Well, on a lighter platform note, how about this one? In celebration of Major League Baseball's 2025 Jewel event, and that, of course, is the All-Star Game, the Major League Baseball Speedway Classic presented by BuildSubmarines.com in Bristol, Dale Earnhardt Jr. out of Tennessee, Budweiser, and Major League Baseball are teaming up to bring a NASCAR Hall of Famer, American beer, and America's favorite pastime to fans by recreating and paying homage to the iconic number 8 Budweiser Major League Baseball All-Star Game scheme. So that old scheme's coming back, and that car will be showcased at the All-Star Game on August 2nd, and will be raced. Are you ready? Will be raced by Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Z-Max Cars Tour event at Anderson, South Carolina Motor Speedway on August 16th. Forgive me for reading, but I didn't want to miss anything. There's a lot said right there and a lot of good. How about that? Number 8, Budweiser car coming back for the All-Star Game.
I love that car. And you and I have talked about this so many times. I'm a baseballer, and so having a baseball-themed wrap on a race car, I'm not sure it gets any better than that. So I love the idea, and and Dale Jr. is clearly, he had success in that deal. So I think it's awesome. It's fantastic.
No doubt. I bet Junior's excited too. No doubt about
sure
that.
He is. Yeah.
I love watching him race, and there'll be a lot of people at that race, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we got a lot to cover. Let's roll right into the Cup segment of the Trackside program.
UniFirst presents Conversation about the NASCAR Cup Series, the pinnacle. In auto racing, just like Cup, UniFirst is also the leader of the pack as the uniform and facility service experts. Let's go back to our hosts, Randy and Terry.
Well, Randy, Memorial Day weekend, a couple of big events, of course, everything going on at Charlotte and the Indianapolis 500. Team Penske has won 20 of the Indianapolis 500 races. And a big announcement on Wednesday, some cheating discovered. And Tim Cindric, Team Penske's team president and race strategist for two-time reigning Indy 500 champion Joseph Newgarden, has been relieved of his duties. Ron Zawiski, managing director and race strategist for Will Power, and Kyle Moyer, general manager and race strategist for Scott McLaughlin, have also parted ways with the company. This statement here from Roger Penske: nothing more is important than the integrity of our sport and our race teams. Roger Penske, who also owns NTT, the Indy Race Car Series, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, said in a statement, "We have an organizational failure, and during the last 2 years, we had to make necessary changes. I apologize to our fans and partners and our organization for letting them down." The number 2 and the number 12 Chevrolet, Randy, were pulled off the line and brought to the garage right before the big top 12 qualifying, and the rival teams noticed that the attenuator, a part of the car that isn't allowed to be modified, had been sealed off. McLaughlin, the other team member, wrecked during practice on Sunday morning and didn't attempt a qualifying lap, and he was found that he was okay. But this is not the first time, the St. Petersburg race. We've talked about that, about the push button in the cars that boost the engine. So a big issue here $250,000 fine. The 2 and the 12 will have to start in the rear. The loss of some, pretty important team members right as we roll into the Indianapolis 500. So that's a big one. And I guess I would ask if you thought that Austin Cindric would be affected by this issue. I mean, Cindric is still an upcoming and great potential race car driver. So comments on this one, Randy? This is kind of a surprise and a disappointment.
So I don't believe it'll have any negative impact on Austin Cindric's driving with Penske. I think what you do see is that Roger Penske values integrity more than he values a win.
Right.
He has a dirt in this deal at Indy. He is the series owner. You mentioned that. That's a fact. But he also competes. And so he has a higher obligation to be right, meaning for his stuff to be, good. And so it's one thing for the series, the independent group that runs the series for him, to make decisions about penalties and fines. But that wasn't good enough for Roger Penske. He took out serious people in his organization, some of which he has great relationship with. So this is why I'm saying this about Austin. So he and Tim Cindric are friends. They're not just
right.
They're not just business people together. They're friends. And he made a business decision. He didn't make a friend decision. He made a business decision. I don't think he'll make a negative decision about Austin Cindric because of this. He'll evaluate Austin Cindric based on Austin Cindric's performance.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. Well, again, a big disappointment. The respect that Roger Penske has, he has that for a reason, and the decision he had to make was not easy, I'm sure, especially right before. Really, many say that this is the biggest race in the world. Is an amazing thing. So, but I guess the right was done, and the truth has been told, and hopefully, Roger said there's going to be some more announcements coming. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, though, we've got Kyle Larson due to take off in the race on Sunday at 12:45. And then if everything goes like it's planned, he'll be here to run in Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. And Randy, it's a little different, and I want you to comment on this, than last year. There are some, let's say penalties that NASCAR has decided to make for any driver that does what Kyle is doing, and whether it be the Chili Bowl or whatever. If Kyle misses the Charlotte race, he will lose his playoff points and some other penalties right there that could affect the championship. So Kyle has made a decision and will be running. Your thoughts?
Well, I think, people might say, well, why would they do that? Right. Well, you got to think a little bit further because the contracts that NASCAR negotiates with racetracks and with media sources, radio, TV, all those kinds of things tend that their value, the content, the media content is a part of the people that are there that are putting on the show are a part of that. That's part of what those media sources are paying for. And if they're not there by choice, then that's a whole discussion, and it impacts the value of the TV arrangements and sponsorships and fans and all that sort of stuff. So NASCAR, in my opinion, has to protect itself, and I think they've chosen to do that. On the other hand, I think it's great if they can pull it off. It looks like the weather's going to be favorable. I think there's not going to be any rain that's going to cause a crazy scenario. But what I would say would be, in my view, Kyle Larson is a NASCAR race car driver, and the ideal, the right situation is, okay, if it gets down to a tough call, there needs to be somebody to drive the Indy car, not somebody to drive the Cup car.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, we know that the car was qualified by another driver, and but he is not eligible to drive in the race for NASCAR. So it's either Kyle's got to make a decision and drive one way or the other in the NASCAR series. So just like you just now said, so we'll see what happens. But as you just said, also the weather looks good. So unless there's a bunch of delay, et cetera, Kyle should be able to make it. And if anybody can make it, Kyle can make it, right?
Right, and I think we're all rooting for this to happen. We would love to see it happen. I believe it's only happened one other time where it's actually been pulled off, and there's been other attempts, but I believe it's only occurred one other time, and I think it was John Andretti that did it. But I would love to see it happen, but I also understand he's got to make a decision, and I. Personally, I think he's decided that it's the Cup side.
Yeah. Just to note on what you said, Tony Stewart is the only driver who completed all 1,100 miles while attempting the double, a feat accomplished in 2001 when he finished sixth in the Indy 500 and third in the Coca-Cola 600. So there you go. Well, how about this? We have. Go ahead, Randy. Say it again.
That's pretty impressive. Sixth and third in what would be 600 miles and 500 miles. That's pretty impressive.
That'd be 1,100 miles, ladies and gentlemen, and he is definitely the only guy that has done it big time. How about some guys that have done this? The 2026 Hall of Fame class has been So how about Kurt Busch, Harry Gant, Ray Hendrick, and Humpy Wheeler was named the recipient of the Landmark Award for outstanding contributions to NASCAR. So, Kurt Busch, baby. Harry Gant. Wow, nice to see that. Well-deserved. I'm so glad to see Kurt Busch rolling in there. I'll never forget we had him in your dealership along with Kozlowski and did our show in your dealership one time. So enjoyed talking to Kurt Busch, a great guy, a great race car driver. He's had some bad things thrown in his back, but on the track, hard to beat him.
He's a cool guy. He likes a lot of different stuff. I think this has got to be, one of the highlights of his career. I'm sure it's one of the very top highlights of his career. What can you say about Harry Gant? You see Harry Gant out riding on a tractor the week of a race to go to the racetrack and go do his thing and do it without a whole bunch of fanfare and get back on the tractor. That was Harry Gant. Ray Hendrick, golly. And then arguably the Landmark Award with Humpy Wheeler, one of the best promoters this sport has ever seen.
Well, and you go back and let's go back and look at Harry Gant and, go back to Richard Petty and of course Dale Sr. And these guys had to work hard, didn't make that much money driving race cars, worked on their own cars, drove a tractor and then went to the racetrack. A whole different ball game than the jets and buses and everything that we have today. And I'm glad we have them, but the guys that helped build this sport deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, Randy.
I think it's awesome. Remember, Harry Gant was Mr. September. Baseball always has their Mr. October, and that was obviously Reggie Jackson, right? That was Mr. October, and Harry Gant was Mr. September. His record in September was pretty tough to match.
No doubt. Oh, you just took me back to memory lane, Reggie Jackson. And Willie Mays, how about number 24, too? Just
say hey, kid.
No doubt about it. Well, as we roll out of the show, how about this one? Hendrick Motorsports and William Byron agreed to a 4-year contract extension. Not a surprise. A couple of Daytona 500 wins, 6 consecutive playoff appearances, and 14 cup-level race wins in the 24 for a young man, William Byron, who's just 27 years old. No surprise that he gets a 4-year extension. I'm so glad. He has done the 24. Very proud. I mean, you take Jeff Gordon and all he did in the 24 and put it with the rookie, William Byron. You don't know what's going to happen. He's done miraculous things, Randy.
Well, I think it's amazing because there was a time right there. I mean, William Byron was very, very, very close to being on the outside looking in, and then there was a turnaround, and clearly, I mean, he's definitely on the path to a Hall of Fame career. We'll see how it turns out, but definitely the first.
Exactly. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to William Byron. And listen, think about Memorial Day and all the things that our guys have done in the service to make us free. Randy, enjoy Charlotte. Ladies and gentlemen, get out and see some racing this weekend. We got stuff going on in New Smyrna, and we'll see you right here next week on Trackside.
And with the checkered flag waving, we're wrapping up this week's edition of Trackside. Fear not, race fans, because we'll be back next week, proudly presented by Document Technologies. Tune in for a fresh new episode packed with engaging interviews, captivating conversations, and all the exhilarating moments you've come to expect. Until then, keep the racing spirit alive, and we'll see you next time on Trackside.